Ah, whew. Genshin Impact. It's new, it's fun, it's like Breath of the Wild. Just kidding, it's a gacha game. On a real note though, Genshin Impact is one of the prettiest games I have ever played. And it somehow combines the best aspects of Breath of the Wild. The fun, addictiveness, the gacha game, it's freaking amazing. From face value, it may sound like a strange concept, but it's executed flawlessly. Anyway, back to the video. In the world of Teyvat, elements play a key role in almost everything. Gameplay-wise, elements are a leading component of the combat, and your knowledge of the elements can be the difference between winning and miserably losing. First though, let's start with some geography. In the world of Teyvat, there are 7 elements, and thus 7 regions that each have their own themes. Only 2 of these regions are actually in the game right now. First off is Mondstadt, which is element is Anemo, or in common terms, air. And their theme is actually Germany, which kind of surprised me, but after looking at the character model for Amber, I completely understand it. The next region currently in the game is Liyue, or in other words, that one region nobody knows how to pronounce. Just so you know, it's Liyue, treated like 3 letters. Their element is Geo, or rock in common terms, and their theme is China, which makes a lot of sense when you have names like Xingqie, however you pronounce that. The next 5 regions currently aren't in the game, so I'm going to try and gloss over them. First up, we have Inazuma, which his theme is Japan, and their element is Electro. Next up is Sumeru, which his element is Dendro, which is pretty useless. Their theme is India. Next up is Fontaine, and their element is Hydro. Their theme is France. Next up is Natlan, and their theme is currently unknown, but their element is Pyro, probably some kind of desert, if I were to guess. After that is Snezhnaya, which is Russia, the old Soviet Union, and their element is Cryo. Now that we're done with that boring geography, you know how there are 7 different elements in Genshin Impact? Anemo, Dendro, Geo, Cryo, Electro, Hydro, and Pyro? Yeah. Throw away those first 3, because when it comes to the beautiful world of status effects, there are only 4 that really matter. First up, there's Cryo, which reduces movement speed. Pretty simple. Next is Electro. And just imagine you and your homies are splashing around in the water having a great time, and all of a sudden, this traveler comes along and introduces a not-so-healthy dose of Electro to one of your homies. Congratulations, you and your homies have now all contracted electronitis and will proceed to learn exactly how much pain the electrocharged reaction inflicts. Hydro. Yeah, remember when I said that there were 4 elements that really mattered? Forget this one, it literally doesn't do anything. Lastly, there's Pyro, which makes the target take consecutive damage over time. Or in other words, they get lit, fam. Oh yeah, just a quick side note before we move on. Cryo freezes things, Hydro extinguishes things, Pyro burns things, Geo breaks things, and Anemo makes things go whoosh. Next up are ley line disorders, the most annoying thing you'll find in the Spiral Abyss and in some abyssal domains. Enemies or objects with ley line disorders have an area of effect around them that will inflict a status effect on characters within the range. Or in other words, you get too close, you get afflicted with some weird elemental disease. Starting with the most annoying, there's Engulfing Storm, which is Electro. You want to use your abilities? Well, too bad. We're just going to take all your energy. Next up is Slowing Water, which is Hydro. Don't worry, we'll let you use your abilities. We'll just make sure that the battle's over by the time you'll get to use them. Next up is Smoldering Flames, which is Pyro. There's really no difference from this and normal Pyro status effects. You get lit, fam. And finally, there is Condensed Ice, which is Cryo. Imagine wanting to run around. I could never. Now, we're getting into the juicy stuff, elemental reactions. Technically, there are 15 different elemental reactions, but there are only 9 with actual names. Elemental reactions are what make up the difference between a casual adventurer and a dragon-slaying demon child with murderous intent. If you want damage, then you've come to the right place. Vaporize, Hydro, and Pyro. If Hydro triggers the effect, then it will do twice the damage of your attack. If Pyro triggers the effect, then it'll do 1.5 times the damage of your attack. It's amazing against Pyro enemies. Melt. Cryo and Pyro. The exact same things as Vaporize, except if Pyro triggers the effect, it does double damage, and if Cryo triggers the effect, it does 1.5. It's amazing against Cryo enemies. Frozen. Cryo and Hydro. That's it. That's all there is. However, there is also a shatter effect, which happens once you shatter a frozen effect. Electro charged. Electro and Hydro. Imagine that every second you get shocked by one of those shock ball toys. Except it hurts a lot. Superconduct. Cryo and Electro. Creates an explosion of cryo damage and also reduces the target's defense by 50% for 8 to 9 seconds. Really good against, well, everyone. Overload. Electro and Pyro. Imagine a really big Crystallize. Geo and any element except Anemo. The target will drop an elemental crystal that when picked up will give you superior defenses to all attacks, and almost complete immunity to attacks of the element that the crystal was. Swirl. Anemo and any element except Geo. The target lets out a powerful sneeze that makes it so everyone around the target contracts the same elemental disease they had. Oh yeah, also the element does a lot more damage too once spread. Burning. Dendro and Pyro. The target gets extra lit. There are so little Dendro enemies in the game that this is the least used and most situational elemental reaction in the game. But all in all, it's not a bad reaction, it does a lot of damage. Now that you know how to make your enemies scream out in agony, it's time to figure out what elements you want in your party. Introducing Elemental Resonance. How Elemental Resonance works is depending on the elements of the characters in your party will receive certain buffs and effects. Enduring Rock. Multiple Geos. Your abilities won't be interrupted as often, and when you have a Geo shield, you do 15% more damage. Fervent Flames. Multiple Pyros. The duration of Cryo is 40% less, and your overall attack increases by 25%. Soothing Waters. Multiple Hydros. The duration of Pyro is 40% less, and incoming healing is increased by 30%. Impetuous Winds. Multiple Anemos. You use 15% less stamina, your movement speed increases by 10%, and skill cooldowns are cut by 5%. High Voltage. Multiple Electros. The duration of Hydro is 40% less, and you will generate an electro elemental particle that lasts for 5 seconds every time you trigger Superconduct, Overload, or Electrocharged. Shattering Ice. Multiple Cryos. The duration of Electro is 40% less, and you gain 15% crit rate against enemies that are frozen or affected by Cryo. Protective Canopy. Any 4 unique elements. Gain 15% resistance to every element. That's, well, everything. If you like this video, then give it a like. And if you enjoy this kind of content, then perhaps consider subscribing. As this is the first video of a new channel, any and all support is greatly appreciated. Just don't forget to add extra applesauce. See you around.